Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. Today, we would like to take a closer look into one of the most important aspects of an MBA at the WU Executive Academy, the international experience. We know from our students and from our alumni that was one of the main reasons for them to choose our MBA program. This is why we thought it might be useful for you out there to get a taste of what to expect from an MBA at our school in terms of the international experience. My name is Damev. I'm a senior consultant for learning and development at the WU Executive Academy, and I would like to welcome you to our webinar. Let me briefly introduce our guest for this session, Cedomir Pusica. I hope I'm pronouncing it the right way. Pusica. Is a communications professional and an entrepreneur with experience in working for a Big Four corporation, the management side of a 400+ people worker factory, and a major global mobile marketing provider, among others. He's the owner of Bell Translations, specializing in translations, transcreation, and copywriting, mainly for languages of Southeast European countries. He's a published author, public speaker, and indeed a very friendly and approachable person. I can confirm that. Furthermore, he keeps his mind sharp and focused through martial arts training that maybe helped you during the MBA program. Cedomir is about to graduate from the MBA Marketing and Sales in September, and just recently came back from the international immersions trip to the United States. And we'll talk about that in a minute. For you out there, we'll go on with the questions for about half an hour, and then we'll open the floor for any questions you might have. Feel free to type them into the chat, and I'll read them out loudly, and we'll discuss them. So let's move to the international residency. Could you share with us a few cornerstones of the trip, like partner university, the companies, and so on? And what was your highlight?
Yes, of course. First of all, I really want to thank you for having me here. And my impressions from the US trip are still so fresh. I'm really all jet lagged still, like 5 days after coming back to Vienna here. So yeah, everything is so fresh. And I use my time like last night when I'm not able to sleep to go through all the photos and videos that we made during the trip, and to look back at the experience and relive it again. So it is one of the highlights of this big 2-year journey that we had at the MBA program. And I think that's something that everyone should actually try and experience. The US trip for me started like a little bit earlier than the official program at the Silicon Valley, San Francisco, and many companies at Stanford University as well. So we went a little bit to New York, and many people do that. Like they combine this trip to the US, the official part, with their own personal trip and vacation. So that's what I did, a little bit before, a little bit after. So yeah, the highlights, like it's difficult to say. Everything is like a highlight, but for me in particular was the fact that we were at Stanford. That was really a big thing. And this idea of walking the campus where so many bright minds have walked before, it's really amazing. And then seeing my peers who I knew from one environment here in Vienna, where we actually spent the last 2 years, that was really something special. Seeing the familiar faces, I would say, in an unfamiliar places, that kind of brought those unfamiliar places to be somehow familiar and to feel at home in a way. Of course, the Silicon Valley, everybody in our cohort, and I think most of the people who are in business, they somehow are exposed during their study and the years that come and follow to the American literature, business literature, to the authors, to the media. Let's not forget even Hollywood and the movies and everything. And now everybody knows that the entrepreneurship and the entrepreneurial minds and those entrepreneurs who are really great, they kind of became very famous like rock stars. and that's true for so many of them. And we've been devouring books and articles and videos, listening about all those great stories of success. And then you get there and you feel it. And you know, you go visit the places that you've been reading about or listening about, or, you know, like watching the videos about. And you see it's all so real. And the fact is that it's not exaggerated. Everything you knew from books, everything you knew from YouTube videos, from TV, is so true. They really live this entrepreneurial life. You can feel it in the air. You can practically cut the air of entrepreneurship in the Silicon Valley. Everybody's so excited. And this excitement is really contagious. So that's the highlight of my trip. Of course, this is the very positive one. There were some other things that were a little bit less nice, that, to be honest, and especially for us from Europe, who live in those social countries where that we take for granted very often, and all the services that we get here in any European country, we kind of take them for granted. But when you go to the US and see these extremes, like extreme poverty and homelessness in the heart of the most affluent society, which is, let's say, California as a state, but even the rest, like New York and stuff, that kind of doesn't feel really proper, and you wonder why.
Puts things into relation, maybe.
Yes.
Also.
Yes, exactly. So there is this extremely great and beautiful picture of excitement, which I think you should stay there in that world and enjoy that, because that's pure joy. And there is this other society which lives side by side and is really adjacent to the, let's say, the more affluent society and people and companies and everything. So it's real. It makes you realize maybe this contrast really gives you a proper idea of what it is, what are the pros and cons of living that dream. So yeah, these are like, I don't want to go to, I'm already talking too much, but you know, you get the idea. Idea. So it's an amazing thing. It was beautiful. It was like visits to the companies as well, talking to entrepreneurs, having those guest lectures, people who are really living their dreams, who came from outside of the US and who started living their dream, seeing their companies grow, and understanding that it's not really an easy process, that many of them fail, but that those who succeed, really, you can feel their excitement, and they do want to transfer that to you. They're so full of enthusiasm. It's really crazy. So I loved it. Everybody else, I think, loved it and enjoyed it. So yeah, it's really.
So we kind of take you on this trip. We put you into cold water, so to say, in an unexperienced, unexpected environment, an unknown environment, and we want you to learn there. That brings me to my next question. We know that research has shown that being in an international environment, aka the cold water experience, or out of the comfort zone, can be a trigger to start a learning process. Is that something you also experienced during the US trip and also in the program as a whole?
Yeah, I think, I mean, you did send me this question before this session here, so I had a chance to think about it. And I was thinking, why is it so? And I think it's kind of like, maybe I'm not an expert here, but maybe it's the survival instinct. So you're trying to adapt very fast and you want to, let's say, to emulate the environment that you're in. So if it's a stimulating environment, you're going to show the better side of you. And I think during our lessons at Stanford with the lecturer, Rob Siegel, I think it was one of those modules that people were so active. I think maybe most active than ever, because I think the very idea of being there, somehow knowing these things like, oh, Stanford, stimulates you to give a little bit more. And so even people who would not normally be so active in class were very active. So I think I did see that in action. And as for other stuff, definitely there must have been other learnings as well, and trying to adapt to the new realities, to how things work. There were people, of course, in our cohort who already knew a little bit more, and those who knew a little bit less. So I think both groups kind of adapted well to where they were. And it's easy to let's say follow the environment. If it's a stimulating environment, you're going to grow. If it's not stimulating environment, you're going to go down. So I think definitely it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because that's one of the motivations we have with the MBA itself.
True.
Could you share, in addition to that, your view on the international experience during the program, meaning your peers, the faculty, the literature, the case studies, etc. How did that impact? Maybe you can also give our viewers a short, let's say, insight on how many nationalities, and maybe you won't know it by heart, maybe, but I don't know, 10 plus, 15 plus. Give us a taste of what did that feel like during the classroom.
Yeah, so this is really amazing, and it gives you this extra layer of quality and value, is this international component. All of us who participate in this program, more or less international. We've been moving around, living in different countries, working in different countries. But being there, all of us from all those different nationalities somehow gives you, like, makes you a better person, so to say, more understanding. It makes you realize that you don't know everything, that there are different sides to looking at the same problem, let's say, that we were all often doing that, solving problems. We will be presented with a problem. Okay, come on, let's work on it. Let's see from different angles. So this diversity, this different international experience, like coming from people who live from Peru, the Philippines, Russia, I don't know, Germany, Austria, Italy. It's amazing. It's really, it gives this additional flavor to everything, and it's really great. Speaking about the number of nations that were represented, I think in our cohort was 111 people in the 2020-2022. I think 40 different nationalities, but there is this information somewhere, and from different countries and everything. So yeah, it's something, it enriches you. I
really like to call it a melting pot.
It is.
At least during the business core, maybe as an explanation to our viewers, the professional MBA program consists of two parts. The first part is the so-called business core. This is where we bring you the business essentials. And this is also where we mix all the professional MBA specializations like marketing and sales, like finance, entrepreneurship, and others. And we kind of shuffle the students, and we build mixed teams. So you have also worked during the business core within a mixed team. Which programs or backgrounds were represented there?
Oh, people like with different work backgrounds, for sure. So portfolio analysts, then let's say financial guys, entrepreneurs, developers. Then you have marketing people, sales people, language guys like me. You have different kind of experiences and skill sets, and you have different programs, of course. So, and the good thing about this was that every time you worked on a, let's say on a particular module and you worked in groups, your groups would be different and composed of different people with different skill sets. And sometimes you might think, and this is very human, that, oh, I wish I worked with this person and not that person. It's normal, we have our preferences, of course. But then you realize that this diversity of viewpoints coming from someone you never expected it would come, that's really what makes you realize that that's a big learning. Like really, that's the diversity for diversity's sake is important. And things and solutions come from the most unexpected places. And I love that. And, you know, being able to see how the group dynamics evolve, that was also a major takeaway. So some groups work better, but that's normal. It's life. I mean, even in the business environment, you work with people you prefer and those you do not. Like some groups work better, some groups work less better, let's say. But overall, it's a huge learning experience. And yeah, you learn how to juggle that and how to, every new group work starts in a way better. You're prepared better. So definitely it's a major plus. And now you asked me also about literature, what we did, case studies, of course, as the entire world of this business and MBA programs, we are very much US centered. So a lot of those cases come, like most of them, actually all of them, come from the American universities like Harvard, Stanford. Then there is the other, like other really important institutes from all over the world. So the best cases you can actually get, and that makes everything so much better. And of course, the literature is super important because you get the articles, you get guidance, you learn to let's say, you can never know everything, but you know where to look for the information. So you get this guidance from the professors, and the professors come also from many different institutions. And that's one of these advantages that the WU Executive Academy has, bringing people from all around the world, exposing us to different ways of teaching as well. So different lectures, different styles, and you learn really
again
a lot.
Adapting.
Yes,
right?
Yes, it's always adapting. It's always adapting, but that's life. That's life. And I think another major learning there is that no situation is the same, and you get the tool set to deal with every single situation in the future. So you more or less know the principles, but how it's going to work out, that's the learning process, and that's the fun part of it. So yeah, I think that's it. I don't know if I answered your question like
brilliantly. Thank you. Let me move on to another cornerstone or pillar of this international experience. You did, with your class, you did a joint master thesis project with Aalto University in Finland. Could you tell us a little bit more about that? How did that work for you? Okay. What were the challenges? Yeah, so let me give you just a little introduction about this cooperation with the Aalto University of Finland, Helsinki. So this was a pilot project which started ad hoc last year, and the two universities came together and decided that maybe it's a good idea to have students of our universities work together on an actual business project for a real company out there. So instead of writing the master's thesis, they could actually do a consultancy project. And they found that two companies that were interested, and there was a selection process. People would apply, and not many people were able to be accepted because there was a huge demand. Everybody wanted to be part of this practical, because we were really very much hands-on here at the WU Executive Academy.
we love doing things, practical things. And I think more than 60 people applied. I'm not sure, but a lot of people applied. And whoever you talk to, they wanted to do this. And only 6 people were selected. I was the lucky one to be selected for the project. And we were divided in 2 groups, 3 students from our side in one group and 3 from the other, in the other group, and the 3 Finnish colleagues. So the groups were made of 6 people total. And we went to Helsinki. We had a lot of fun, and guys, like the best experience I think of my life, one of the ones I will never forget, is the sauna experience in Finland. And then swimming in the Baltic Sea. I thought they were joking. It was November, but no, actually, you swim in the Baltic Sea. It was so invigorating. I would go back there just for that. So it was really amazing. And we had this introduction, and we visited the companies. We were presented with a problem, and then we came back here, and we're supposed to work with the students from Finland on solving this particular business problem. And that's what we've been doing for, since November until June, when we presented the final case and our findings and recommendations. And it was a really excellent project with a lot of not so excellent experiences in the meantime, of course. But then one big learning, and that's the organizational or institutional cultures prevail every individual's culture, or the mindset or anything. Like, institutions have this real power to shape the way people work, think about things, and this created a lot of friction, and it was not an easy thing.
So you were different.
We were very different. Like, 2 universities were different. Like, we were composed of different nationalities inside the
3 of you.
The
already.
3 of us from here as well, and the 3 of them from Finland. But there was a bipolar world practically. And I didn't know why that was until the very end. But it was really due to the fact that the 2 institutions are kind of different and have a different culture. And this is incredible that just in such a short time, we're here for like 2 years, the university actually managed to shape us in a way that we all kind of understand how to approach a certain problem, like how we were doing it here. And they did the same thing, the Finnish guys. So it was frustrating at times, but in the end, now looking back, at least this one big learning is extremely important for me. And I think that this is why many of the mergers and acquisitions, speaking about now the business, fail, because 2 different companies with 2 different cultures, really people are shaped by those cultures much more than one would actually expect. So it was amazing. It was great. And I think we provided great feedback, I think, to the university, both universities here in June. And on both our side and the Finnish side, they had problems with us, we had problems with them, but that's good, that we're grown-up people, and it's a learning experience. And now this year, I think it's going to be so much better, definitely. And all our messages were very well taken and understood, and that's normal. It was a pilot project, but the university is actually going ahead with this project. And I actually saw coming here that there are people from the Aalto University here. So that's amazing. And I think this is important to connect the 2 institutions together, and cooperation and collaboration is, I think, the key to anything. And we can learn from them, they can learn from us. So we're all on the same mission, and that's making the world of better leaders, better managers, people who know how to bring the value to companies, and through companies to people who work there, their families and everything. So we're trying to bring leadership in this world. So we should be able to work with one another, and trying to find the ways how to do that is our task, I think.
Nicely said. Let me move on to one more cornerstone we have. It's the community. So it's the student and alumni community. And we know that next to your MBA studies, which we'll finish very soon, you're also quite active within our community. For example, by hosting the VU Executive Academy podcast, Know How to Inspire. Which thoughts can you share with us regarding the International Student and Alumni Network and the leverage you can get from that network?
So for me, like this is really a message I want to send. You can learn from different sources. You can read books, you can watch videos, but you cannot experience the same thing unless you know people. People are the real value that you will get. And the network of peers who think the same, who want to actually, who are on the same path as you are, on the same journey. These are the people you want to hang out with. And you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. And this is really true. Here you get contaminated by the enthusiasm of all the people from around the world. You learn from them. You see how many different fields they work in. Some are really like at the very edge of technology development, some working in really exciting fields. So you can learn a lot from them during like formal and informal events, more informal ones when you go out having a dinner or drink. And these are the best networking sites. So yeah, the network is the most important thing. And knowing people, talking to people, and just talking can open the worlds for you. And sometimes you just say something and somebody would just jump in and say, oh, I know this, or I know that, or I know this person or that person who can help you, or you really can leverage the network a lot. And that's the most, I think for everyone, that's the most important thing. There are some people, I mean, we have different motivations. Some people come for the degree only. Some people already have their careers developed and they need this degree to say, hey, I have this. But I think if you really want to get the real value, I think it always comes down to people, to the people you know, to the people you bring value to and who bring value to you. And you will find friends. Really surprised, even at this, like normally in elementary school, you find friends for your life, but here you can find friends, I think, for life. And that's an amazing thing, really, the power of the network. And your degree, and I always say that, is as strong as your network is. And our network of alumni is 4,500 strong or more and growing every year. So I think that's the most important thing, to connect these people, to share their experiences. And during one of those nights out, when we're trying to, in the first year of our study, to get to know each other, the whole idea of the podcast came about by just asking, I was asking this question to a colleague of mine, and I hope she will be my guest here soon. She promised to. For the podcast. For the podcast, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I started asking her so many questions, and her story was so interesting. I was like, guys, I mean, the world should hear about this. And the idea of actually having this one avenue of bringing people together and sharing the, the personal experiences and the business experiences with the others, this could bring value to everyone, and it could introduce you to people, be like an icebreaker, say, hey, I listened to this episode with you and you're working in the same field as I do. So I was thinking, maybe you can help me, etc. So it's a really great icebreaker, because people tend to stay in their very small groups. Like even in our small, like we were divided into 3 groups, group 1, 2, and 3. actually class 1, 2, and 3. And that was also due to the COVID restrictions and everything to not mix this so much. And people did not mix too much. But even our small class, there would be like small gangs, forming, which is normal and natural. But sometimes it happens that some people never talk with one another, never ever. I made it my mission in the first week to talk at least to everyone once.
Okay.
So
did it work out?
It did work out. It
great.
did work out. And you discover so much more by doing that. And I think that's the real value. So you discover people, you discover their passions, their lives, what they work on, and it's really incredible. Even the people you least expect it from.
Yeah,
So,
I can definitely concur to that. I think if you want to leverage a lot from that MBA, it's network, get to know people, work with them, engage, and embrace this platform the school offers, from the classroom environment to the network opportunities, alumni community, and so on and so forth. I also, just as an adding, I've been talking to a lot of alumni from previous years, and one thing they tell me very often is that you maybe 10 years after the MBA, you don't remember exactly who was your marketing professor or operations management professor, but you do know the network. You do know the guy sitting next to you who was a marketing pro. You know where to find him and to call him or write him and ask for advice. Is that something you feel the same?
Absolutely.
You have experience like that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, and it's really all up to you. And just like you said, and I really want to repeat this, the university here gives you like the platform, the tools. Yeah. Here you have this, you have that. It's up to you what you're gonna, how you're gonna use it and whether you want to leverage that. So that's one thing which I really think should be repeated over and over again. And I think every new cohort should know these things. And even if they do know, repeat that, because emphasize exactly. For example, we have a great library, an amazing library, and you can book rooms there and you can use them as an office. And it's just amazing. It's crazy how amazing that thing is in itself. So yeah, that's one thing. Another thing, we have for example, Entrepreneurship and Innovation Institute, which can help you. If you have an idea for a startup or something, you can have the BEO students work for you on your idea, develop a project or something. And
they use it for their master's program, and you use it for your business.
Exactly. And then there is these entrepreneurship touchdown, E&I touchdown, for example. When you pitch your thing, you have a huge network here that can help you. And you just, the important thing is just talk, just ask, and somebody will tell you and somebody will guide you. And I would be just asking things and be directed easily. Oh, I know, go to this. Governmental agencies here are really also very much involved into helping startups and people start their companies. So the only thing you have to do is ask. And everybody's so willing to help, which is really amazing. And your peers as well. So keep in touch and talk to people.
Nicely said. I'm just watching the time. We do have already one question from the audience. Let me just bring it up. Which personal skills do you consider important in starting a business, especially for first-time entrepreneurs?
Okay, I think, and this is something that is, I think, valid for most things. And this is something that over the years I learned, and I think it's helping me a lot. Asking the right questions. And if you're capable of formulating a clear question of what you want to know, you are halfway through to the answer. It sounds
easy,
but it's the most difficult thing. it's just like when you try to search something on Google. If you have a very specific query, you're going to get a really good result. But if you're just typing in some keywords without really having a clear idea of what it is that you want to know, then that's the problem. So now going back to the personal skills, and I can now relate to what they said at the Silicon Valley, like what these people, and they are really all about business. Personal skills are curiosity. Like, well, not too much, like, yeah, I'm curious, but really like having this strength of character and being there. And more than once people said, oh, when this entrepreneur walked into the room, their personality was so big, they were so strong, and they were so convinced about the idea that they practically convinced the venture capitalists, let's say, or the investors. So you should know your stuff. You should know what it is. You should be an expert in what you want to do. Like maybe sometimes you don't have to be an expert, but a visionary, and be really convinced and communicate that properly. So I think this is the most important thing, and knowing who to work with. Of course, you will never be enough on your own to do something big. So you have to be capable of selecting the right people who you will take on your team. And I think in programs like this, you can find a lot of individuals that you can really click with on a personal and professional basis. And I can tell you for sure that there have been several startups here forming with people who met each other here during the program. And not least, I had a chance of, of partnering with one of my colleagues. And so it's really that important. Like no particular set, like you have to be the great developer, the great strategist, the great
marketing
this,
specialist.
marketing. Yes, you have to know what you really want. You have to know, you have to be a visionary to understand what's going to work, and understand, of course, how the company, how the startup works. Like what do you need in different stages? What do investors want? And they always want a strong team. So that's like, let's say, people who are compatible and whose skill sets are compatible, not the same, but compatible. And of course, you have to go along with whoever you partner with. So personally, because I think there will be a lot of personal challenges along the way. So yeah, curiosity, strength, vision, and ability to communicate, to understand exactly what it is you want to do, why you want to do it. And yeah, so.
I can add from the, let's say, from the university perspective, when you have the vision, you have the people, then it comes down also to building an organization at a certain point of time. And these are the things you learn from a mechanical point of view also in programs like the MBA. You learn how to build and manage an organization, how to lead teams, how to build your marketing department, how to build other departments, and so on and so forth. And this is, I think, also where the loop closes. You have people with the vision coming in into the programs, for instance, and the program is the environment where they not only learn the tools, but they also have this safe environment outside of this commercial pressure where they can test drive their ideas also. Like, of course they can fail, but they don't fail like on the open market, for instance.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there. And another thing is, like, you will not just get the tools, this is it, do it, and this is how you do it. If it were like that, everybody would be able to do it. Every organization is also very special. And, when you start working, when you work in an organization and you learn about these things and you know what the best practice is, but it's not absolutely easy to like implement. Oh, this is it. This is how we do it. Every organization is very special, just like every peer group that we worked in. So we have to learn how to actually be artists in a way. It's not like hard science. And, you have to learn how to manage your organization, the people, because organization is people, processes, and how to organize that. And it's very often, even though you know this how it should work and what's best practice, sometimes you kind of fail to do that in real life, but you find something else that works equally well. So, or good enough.
Yes. but the next question is actually related to that, to what you said. For someone first time starting a program at the Executive Academy, how much do the things you learn in class translate to real life situations? So that's exactly what we're talking about. You get this tool set and then you have to translate it. I think one thing is your individual ability to translate, but another thing is also the setting you're in, because you have this practical approach during the program. You don't sit in the classroom and have a frontal lecture for 4 days, 8 hours long, but you have the breakout sessions, you have the case study work. You are, and correct me if I'm wrong, you are also asked by professors in assignments to apply what you have learned into your real life professional environment.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can give you a clear example here. So when you work in a peer group, when you work on a pre-module assignment or post-module assignment, trying to apply the learnings, you practically apply it in a way which is kind of artificial, because other than your grade, you do it very fast. Like it's like 2 weeks, you're done. In a company, it never works like in 2 weeks, you're done with the problem. Okay, this is how we're going to do it. But you get the tools. And when you get these tools, you can move on. You know how to work. You know like how to set the 2x2, let's say, to see the strategy, where to look for, what to analyze, what information to take, where from, like what to pay attention to. And then you have people, of course. And now when you're going to a company, you have a lot of people who have different stakes in many different things.
True.
And they will be a lot more pushy to have it their way. And you have to be a very good communicator and to be able to convince these people that to be on your side, or that your way of thinking is better, or to apply their way of thinking, to actually be open to learn why somebody is against your idea, or why they believe, why they confirm your idea. But always we have these biases. It's not just, you have to be very careful about the biases. So you learn a lot of things here that you can apply in the real world. Otherwise, why would we even doing these things? Like, why do MBA people have so much success and move up the career ladder and the company ladder? Because you learn a lot. And I think there's the processes and everything lasts so much more. Everything takes so much more time to apply. Like, for example, the pricing strategy, you get a module, you do the module, it's huge, and you go through it. Let's say you have the classes, pre-module, post-module, and you're done. And you're done in a month.
And you could be done.
Yeah.
If you want to.
Yeah. But the thing is, go and now in your company, you say, okay, we have to do the new pricing strategy for our company. And then a lot of people start coming from different departments who have something to say about that. And everybody has a say, and you have to listen to everyone. You have to see, to form the teams, to, do the market research, everything that you're doing very fast here, like in broad strokes. In a company, it takes a lot of time. It takes months, like many months. And the stakes are really high, because you don't want to mess that up. And because the grade will be revenue, but it's absolutely applicable. So you get the tools and you learn how to use them. You learn where to watch for like your, let's say, your steps where you can make a mistake, what to avoid. So definitely it prepares you very well for the real world, but don't expect to be like a magic wand that you go out there and you just start solving problems. That's not going to happen.
That reminds me of a story I heard from a former marketing and sales student, actually, who told me once that he would come back from a module and he would have his notes and he would gather his team a day after the module and say, guys, I took some notes. I think I had some great ideas. Let's try this and this and this and this. And he told me at the beginning it was exciting, but then they started really, getting a little anxious towards the time he would come back, because they would also always go out of this meeting with to-dos and with things they would have to try out. Is that something you experience in a similar way?
Like you coming there telling people what to do and
well, like, having your notes or your ideas, you sit in the classroom and you think about what you hear and what you discuss, and you think, this is something I could do it that way in my company. I'll try that out when I come back.
Yeah, but of course, just like everything, people are people. And imagine yourself being in a position of having somebody coming from the MBA telling you, well, look, I know how to do these things.
I'm a wise man.
I'm the wise man. And you're going to do it like this because what you are doing is not right. You're definitely going to have problems and resistance, and you're definitely not going to approach it that way. You don't want to be the smartest person.
And again, it comes back to communication.
Yes.
How to bring it to people.
Yeah, how to make it in a way, to present it in a way that nobody will think that you are the smart person, because you're not. And you have some great ideas, but they are, just one side of the story. You have to work with people, and working with people means, catering to so many different psychological triggers, and also you have to acknowledge the expertise of others, because somebody's working there for a reason. And I think you should be very careful how to approach that. You definitely have an edge, an advantage, but how you use that to your advantage and to the advantage of the company in a way which is inconspicuous, that's I think the true learning, and I think expertise takes a lot of time, and maybe you will burn yourself sometimes to learn, because the best learnings are the ones that you experience on your skin. And but one should be careful not to start preaching immediately, so.
Wisely said. I have another question here. What was the most unexpected learning you have learned about yourself during the program?
I know who this person is, and hi, Ingo. So I learned that I'm not the smartest person in the room, and that's great, and that's really great, and it's a big learning, and I think that's the most valuable thing, that if you are the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And I learned that there are so many people who know so much that you can learn from, and that's the most surprising thing about me that I learned. I mean, not that I thought always that I'm the smartest person in the room, but kind of like, you have the tendency of believing that you know a lot, and which may be true, but still you don't know everything. Like, your knowledge is very often limited to your experience of the world, which, however broad it may be, it's not your experience. It's your experience. It's not all of the experiences combined. So, and that's a really great thing about it, because you can always learn more, and that's why we come back now to the value of the network again, like the people. So, I would say that.
I've heard that a couple of times, that it has a touch of a humbling experience being that in a program like that, where you have so many bright minds coming together, experts coming together, where you have this moment and where you see yourself in relation to others, and you step out, as you said, you're living your bubble in your personal experience, and suddenly you are immersed with all those other experiences. And I've heard that from students, that it has this grounding touch, if you will.
Yes, I mean, I think just like anything, it's a double-edged sword.
Mm-hmm.
So some might get a, let's say, a proof that they are the best.
Okay.
And they may start behaving like, yeah, I knew I'm the best. So, but others may feel like, oh, I'm just one person here in the sea of many others who are equally good or better than me. And of course, there are some people who you're better than in certain areas, and that's definitely the case with everyone, I think. So it depending again on the person, the personality type, you see different things.
Yeah, again, it's diversity. I mean, it's so many different possibilities.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
Exactly.
One more question we have. One of the biggest concern that I have, maybe we have, so maybe it's more than one person, is how to relate or how to allocate enough time for the program. Can one really do the MBA next to a full-time busy work life?
Most of us do. Like, if you have the luxury of not working and studying, I mean, just go ahead with it. Don't
but again,
work.
you won't have the opportunity to apply what you have learned.
Exactly. That's
so
true.
you might not experience this quick learning transfer where you start applying quick.
That's also true.
But you have more time to study.
Yeah,
obviously.
You have a lot more time to study. Yeah. You can reflect more.
Fair enough.
It's but like I think 99% of the people who were in this program had their full-time job and families and everything. And it's challenging, I'm not going to lie. And so often you will not have a weekend. And, then, you can start complaining to yourself, to your family, to your friends and stuff. So,
you better not too much.
Yeah, but the thing is, just think about it. It's so enriching. It's so different. It gives this additional flavor, you doing something else apart from your work. And it's so fulfilling. And definitely I would go for it. It depends if you can also negotiate with your employer to maybe reduce the number of hours, because I know some people who have, for example, instead of working 40 hours, they reduce to 29 or 30 or something like that. But most of the people continue having their full-time job, and you can actually do it because, one of the things, and I think this is a big learning here. I heard it in one of the podcasts, I think with the Shopify guy, the founder of Shopify. He said that one of the best things that he learned that prepared him for business was the law school. And why is that? Is because he would be presented with 1,200 pages the night before and said, okay, go through it in the morning. You have to come up with this one killer sentence that's gonna, win the case. And it sounds impossible, but the thing that you learn is to filter everything fast, because you will never have enough time. In the business environment, you never have enough time. You cannot be a philosopher and just take your time and do things. You very often have to skim through to filter. So learning how to filter and to get the essence. I think that's a big learning here. So you shouldn't be afraid of whether you'd be able to read all the cases in a very systematic way, lingering a lot and thinking about every passage, but thinking about it, going through it and thinking about it and then just reflecting upon it, because you already have a lot of experience. And you should also base your work on what you know already and add some spice of what you learn. So you will be given books, but I don't expect anyone to read those books. It'd be amazing. I wish I could, but there are books like 700 pages. You cannot prepare 700 pages of a real important stuff in 2 weeks. No way. I mean, but there's that book. If you ever need to go and dig into something, you can do that. And you should learn how to look for information. So that's the thing. And it is possible. It's going to be challenging. It's not going to be easy, but it's just your decision. What do you want to do it? You don't want to do it. Are you ready or are you not ready? I'm definitely sure it's going to enrich your life, but yeah, it's up to every individual to decide. And sometimes to put the family aside, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, but nothing is easy, which is worth pursuing.
We like to call it an investment in yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, it involves some sacrifice, obviously. And what I can tell you guys from the perspective of the business school, the program is designed in a way that it can be done next to your full-time job, obviously. Otherwise, it just wouldn't work. But again, it's a challenge, of course. But as we hear, it's worth it. It's an amazing experience. Actually, it's not something you buy and you put it on a shelf and you look at it and it's nice and shiny. But it's something you go through. It's an experience, and it can be life-changing as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, we are approaching the end of our session. Just for you guys out there to know, you can reach us at any time of the moment. Cedomir is on LinkedIn. Feel free to reach out to him. I hope it's okay if
definitely.
If I share this with our audience. I will type my email address into the chat room here, but you will also get an email from us after the session with the recording, where you can answer at any time. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions, even questions about the application, the program itself. We didn't touch on that because we had another topic today, but I'd be happy to discuss any topic with you if you need assistance. For now, I thank you very much for joining. I thank Cedomir for joining me today. It was great fun.
Thank you.
Very much enriching. And I hope to see you soon at one of our webinars. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.